What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another video. In today's video, it is Victory Monday, so you guys know I'm going to be hype all day today. And today, we're excited. We're an excited fan base. Today, we're talking about what we learned from the Lions' 34-30 win over Chicago Bears. What did we take away? It was the first game for Darrell Bevell as our head coach. And what did we learn from this game? What were the differences schematically and by the team? Let's get it started.
You know, I got to shout out DoseOfDion, man, because it was actually the first time I went live on YouTube. And, you know, guys don't know DoseOfDion. He put out a lot of good content for the Detroit Lions.
Welcome, everybody, to another video. Glad you guys are here. And yes, whoa, it just feels good. It just feels good. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I'm really not. Yesterday night, I lost my voice a little bit. I don't know where it came from, but it was probably like, I don't know. I got back home. It was kind of late. And I was talking, I can't remember why I was talking, and it was like, wow, my voice, it sounds kind of weird. I lost my voice a little bit just from yelling from the game. I missed that. I wasn't even at the game. I missed that feeling. And you know why? Because it wasn't just that we won and my heart was pounding because I'm like, oh, I'm nervous. We're trying to hold the lead. It was the opposite. When Darrell Bevell said he was going to try to bring fun to this team, he wanted this team to have fun, to play loose, to play with their hair on fire. It was probably the most fun I've had this year watching a game. Probably the most fun I've had watching a game. Aside from the Jaguars game where we went out and just dominated them, this was the most fun. And we were losing for a lot of it. That's the difference, is that this was actually a fun game. It lived up to the hype. But what did we learn? What holes do the Lions still need to fill? What did we learn from this game? Well, let's go to my first takeaway. And this is probably the biggest takeaway from the game. It shows you what potential this offense had. The potential this offense had this year. That we came into the year hoping for, that we were looking forward to. After seeing Stafford for 8 games, put up some ridiculous numbers, play the best football that he has ever played in 8 games. We were expecting this offense to be nearly unstoppable this year. It was like, man, if this offense is clicking, I don't know if a defense can stop this team. So we head into Chicago. It's Darrell Bevell's first game. He wants to open things up. He wants to continue to take shots. We didn't even see a trick play in this game. And yet we put up 34 points. We hung the most points on any team we've scored this year on a top 10 defense heading into this game on the road against a divisional team. 34 points. Matthew Stafford, for the first time this year, went over 400 yards passing. And you guys said in the chat, it was the first team this year, take your word for it, that no one else this year has thrown for over 300 yards against Chicago. 400 yards. Without Kenny Golladay, without DeAndre Swift, without your top running back in the draft, without your top wide receiver, you hung 400 yards and 34 points, 3 touchdowns. You scored a touchdown every single quarter, no field goals, 5 touchdowns. The offense's potential, the capabilities we knew this offense could have, that we were hoping to see. For the first time this year, I felt like we actually saw it. For the first time this year. I felt like we saw it against Washington, but we started to slow down a little bit. There were certain moments this year where we saw flashes. But this was the first time that throughout an entire game, I felt confident that this offense could score every time they had the ball. It was the most confident I felt in Matthew Stafford throwing the ball this season. That was the biggest difference to me. The eye test, just your gut feeling, was that, hey, when Stafford has the ball, we're going to move the ball down the field. That's what it felt like. Stafford said after game, he felt like he was in rhythm all game, even after the interception. That's what it felt like as a fan perspective. There were certain games this year where Stafford would throw a pick and I was like, oh no, I'm kind of worried about our next offensive possession. This one wasn't like that. It was just like right from the jump, it just felt like there was a rhythm, there was something to this offense, and that Matthew Stafford was just on the money. Even after the pick, he was just on the money, and he came back and just moved him right down the field. Darrell Bevell said it best. It was vintage Matthew Stafford. It was vintage. It took me back. It took me back to the old Matthew Stafford. The Stafford that we have missed. The Matthew Stafford that would throw for 5,000 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 3 picks. The guy that would, hey, yeah, he's going to make mistakes, but he didn't care. He would throw that all away. I don't care about the mistakes. I'm going to put big plays. I'm going to change this game. I'm going to impact this game. That's what it felt like. It felt like that, and I missed that with Matthew Stafford. I missed that on our team. We played so cautious. After seeing this game, it makes me feel like this team played so cautious, so not to make a mistake, so worried about what could go wrong, that they didn't instead play for what could actually go right. We had 8 plays over 20 yards, guys. 8 plays over 20 yards without Golladay or Swift. Against this defense, this was a defense that into this game was allowing 89.9 passer rating and 227 passing yards a game. We came in, threw for 400 yards, and Matthew Stafford had a 109.4 passer rating. A 109.4 on the road in Chicago. What? That's unheard of. We usually struggle to put up points against Chicago. Like it was just something different. It just felt like, you know, when you watch good offenses, you watch the Chiefs and you watch those teams like that, and you just feel like every time they have the ball, they're going to score. And it's like, man, it's just, they're going to score. Can we just get a stop? Can we get a lucky stop? And that's what it felt like with us. It just felt like every time we had it, we can go score points. We're going to move the ball down the field. I mean, you just weren't worried about it. And that was so incredible to me. That's what really just took me back. And it was just like, man, I have missed this. And the most impressive thing to me is that as a team, get this, on 19 carries, we averaged 3.1 yards per carry. We couldn't even run the ball. We were basically one-dimensional. Aside from that touchdown from AP, we didn't run the ball well at all today in this game. But somehow we had 400 yards passing. Somehow we scored in every single quarter, and we don't do that very often. And they were all touchdowns. It was a great feeling. Daryl Bevell said he wanted to let them play loose. Matthew Stafford looked like he was having fun again. That's why when he said vintage Matthew Stafford, Hill Holman was like, yeah. That's why Matthew Stafford asked if Bevell let him cook. It felt like that. It felt like you were letting him cook. Because it was just like, man, this is what... And the offensive line, they stepped up. It was almost like the offensive line had that same confidence. You had Matt Nelson stepping against Khalil Mack, and you didn't hear Khalil Mack's name. It just seemed like they were clicking together. This team just wanted to go make plays. And all the hope that we had coming into this season about what this offense could do in the passing game, their strength being the passing attack, it just all came into fruition against the Chicago Bears. And it was just like, man, where has this been? I mean, where has this been? That's what I'm saying. Like, come on, man. This could have been here, it feels like. Now we see it. We were wondering to see how much tempo is there going to be. There was no huddle mixed in. Early in the game, it wasn't like we mixed in no huddle. And it wasn't like Bevell went completely one-dimensional on him. We ran the ball 16 times with his man, Adrian Peterson. And we needed it because that got us into the end zone at the end. So it wasn't like we completely changed up our scheme. It was just the pace. It was the timing of certain plays. It was letting Matthew Stafford be Matthew Stafford. Look at the dude's passing chart. I guarantee there's no other passing chart this year that looks like that. We didn't hit on all of them. But 8 plays over 20 yards, that's going to change a game. Cephas is bomb. Heck, we even took a Hail Mary before half. 2 of them. This to me was just, it was like, man, this is the excitement that we've missed. And, you know, your Kelvins. We've had your Golden Tates. Now we have the Kenny Galladays, your Marvin Jones. But Matthew Stafford has always been that guy that even when we lose, it's been exciting. It's been fun to watch because Stafford will drop 400 yards on you, 300 yards on you. And even if we lose, you know that we're going to make it fun. And that's what it felt like again today. It just felt fun. You saw the 2-minute drive to find some kind of hope of a comeback. And it brought me back to nearly like the Saints game. You guys remember we were playing the Saints? This was the Caldwell, back with Caldwell, and we were down 2 touchdowns. We score, and all of a sudden we get that pick by Glover Queen, and we score again, and we win. We were down by 13. It's 23-10. All of a sudden, boom, boom, touchdown, and we're back at it. That's what this felt like. Touchdown, turnover, touchdown. It was like, man. But this felt like a very explosive offense. An offensive-minded coach in Daryl Bevell. And it just, I mean, this looked like a top offense in the league. No questions. With a bad running attack, you put 400 yards on the Bears. That's impressive. That's extremely impressive. Is 1, the defense adjusted at half, it felt like. And 2, the defense and the running game, they stepped up when we needed it most. How often this year have we said our team has stepped up when we needed it most? But it was the opposite feeling. It wasn't a feeling of, oh, we hung on when we needed it most. It was they stepped up and put us back into the game. They gave us life when we needed it most. When there may have not felt like there was that much optimism on the defense, they stepped up and they took the game over and gave us an opportunity. How many times this year have we saw Matthew Stafford throw an interception and it was like, oh, game's over. We had a chance, but he threw a pick. It's game over. But this time it was different. A defense that could not stop the Chicago Bears offense first half. A defense that only forced 1 punt in a half. That allowed scores on every single other drive. We gave up 23 points. Could have been 24 with an extra point. In the first half. Goes out in the second half. Gives up 1 scoring drive. 1 touchdown. Forces 3 punts. A fumble. And a turnover on downs to end the game. Clutch. That simple. Halftime adjustments. This was a defense that could not get off the field in the first half. Couldn't stop the run, couldn't stop the pass. You knew it was going to be tough because our defense was missing key pieces. They were missing Okudas, they were missing Trey Flowers, they were missing Desmond Trufant, Danny Shaw. They were missing some pieces. But they came up big time second half. There was some life. I'll give Corlin credit. I don't have the film yet, but he did blitz more. It seemed like they brought more pressure. He put the pressure on Trubisky. He changed things up. He tried something different. And the defense responded. The defense, they knew they had to make plays to help their team, and they had our offenses back. They had our offenses back. They put us back in the game. They gave us the opportunity to go score and win it. Not only did they get off the field in the third, no, they put us in position. They said, you know what, Stafford, no, we're not going to make you drive the field anymore. How about we just give it to you at the 7 and you don't have to throw it? We'll just run it in twice with Peterson. We had 4 drives where we gave up a total of 14 yards. Aside from that scoring drive and the last drive where they turned over on downs, they had 14 total yards in the midst of the other 4 drives. A punt, and a fumble. 14 total yards. 14 total. Energy, there was belief. That's the biggest thing with players is that can a coach bring the best out of you? Can he make you believe in yourself and your team that you can do it? After this year, it would have been nothing unlike the Lions to just fold there and say, you know what, we lost. Because we've seen it all year. We're 4-7. Who cares? It's over. New head coach, doesn't matter. We're going to fold. They didn't fold. They did the exact opposite on both sides of the ball. The offense never gave up. They put the ball in the end zone. The defense, they gave us a fumble. When we turned it over, they got to stop and gave us the ball right back. No one folded. I think DoseOfDion or T said it best when we were talking last night. I think he said it best. This is an organization. This is a culture that's full of negative energy. It's everywhere you look. And it's easy to be very negative when you lose all the time. I mean, this is a team that just never consistently wins. So you got a negative fan base because of that. Negativity probably in the locker room and the ownership. It's just all across the board. Because of that, if you have a guy like Matt Patricia, not a shot at Matt Patricia, but you have a guy like Patricia, and if the rumors are true and we're hearing from the inside, and then Matt Patricia, he's pointing out all the bad, he's just focused on what's going wrong, the mistakes that you are making. And if that's what the feeling is, the vibe is from the inside out, that may work in other places. And that will work in your New Englands or your teams that have had success. And he's just like, hey, look, this is not acceptable. We got to be better. We're making all these mistakes. And he points it out. It works in Pittsburgh, right? Look at Pittsburgh's coach, Mike Tomlin. He calls them JV players. It works there. Certain places, Patricia's mindset probably will work. The problem is with Detroit, with all this negative energy surrounding this team for so long, I think one of the biggest things is, like what DoseOfDion or T said, you need to have that positive voice. The guy that pushes the other side. Forget about the negativity, man. Let's focus on being better, improving ourselves, being good together, playing together, having fun. You could get the negativity anywhere you look. You could get negativity after this win. You're going to find it. You're going to find it. It's not going to be difficult to find. I guarantee you could do a simple Detroit Lions search and you will find negativity after this one. But the difference is that Darrell Bevell brought something different, in my opinion. He brought a different look at it, a different perspective. He said it himself. And I'm assuming that perspective was, hey, forget the negativity. We're going to go play with our hair on fire, have fun. Fun. We can work hard, but have fun. Music back to practice. We're going to have music in practice. Loosen up a little bit. I think that honestly might be what the Lions just need. Because you're a culture that doesn't win. And until that happens consistently, it's hard to point out the flaws because everybody knows them. Everybody knows that this team has not a good history. I mean, heck, they're showing during the game we have one playoff win since the 50s. Everybody knows this team isn't good historically. So why keep pointing that out? Why keep pointing out what's wrong with this team instead of saying, hey, look, let's talk about what's right with this team, what we can do right with this team, where we can go from here. Let's look at this with a different vision of, hey, none of that matters. Let's just focus on who we are right now and the opportunity that's sitting in front of us, that because you have an extra team in the playoffs, because of how the NFC has shaped up, that you have an opportunity here. And even though it's a difficult schedule, you have an opportunity to do what no one thinks you can do. And that's find yourself in the playoffs and go in. And you can't back in because it's not possible. You can't back into this playoffs because you got to win to get in. So you got an opportunity to roll in with a head of steam. And even if it doesn't happen, the thing is, the players, if they can buy into that belief and that positivity, and they can get that kind of energy. Who do you like to hang out with? You like to hang out with the downers? Oh man, this stinks. My day's awful. It's dark outside. I don't want to go outside. It's cold. It's rainy. It's wet. Or do you want to hang out with the guys? Hey, let's go outside. Let's have some fun, man. Let's go do something. Let's play in the rain, you know? It's like a dancing in the rain. That's what you need. I think that's what Bevel brought. And that's why they came together. Because the negative side of things would have looked at this and said, oh, you threw a pick. Oh, it's game. Realistically, we're not going to win this percentages-wise. Who cares about that? Okay, hey, we threw a pick. But the positive is we moved the ball. Every drive, we're moving the ball. So now all we do is we just don't get that unlucky pick. Now defense, all you got to do is give us a stop and just give us a chance. That's all you got to do, just give us a chance. And they did that. And then all of a sudden you have Matthew Stafford, who he believes he's smiling, he scores. And everybody's saying, oh, snap, actually, we do have a chance here. Hold up, it's not over yet. Wait, we beat a divisional opponent? We were 0-10 in our last 10 meetings against the Vikings and Bears. We just beat them on the road? What? First time in how long? There's belief. I want to make one last point about the whole Patricia thing. It's not that I don't think Patricia was dumb. Like, he didn't know how to play football or how to scheme for football. I mean, but the difference is you can't game plan for confidence. You can't game plan confidence. You can't draw up confidence. You can put the guys in the right position, but the question is, are they motivated to make that play? I mean, look at the first time we played the Bears, right? We hold them to 6 through 3 quarters. We're shutting them down. We had a good game plan there. But all of a sudden, when a couple things go wrong, no one has the confidence that they can make it right, that they can fix the problem. And it was just like everything spiraled out of control. And we've seen that so many times versus the Packers, versus the Vikings, versus the Colts. You can go through pretty much all of our losses, you don't see that. The only time that didn't happen is when luckily Stafford would go down the field and put the ball in the end zone or get us in field range and Prater would hit it. That's it. That's the only other time that it happened. The difference in this one was the complete opposite. We came out, we struggled. It was Corey Allen's first time with the scheme being just completely in charge of defense. So, look, I'll give him a little bit of time, no question. There's injuries. So he's trying to figure it out on his own, too, when he comes out with this game plan. And I'm not going to lie, it didn't seem like it was great. But when the message was there at halftime, whatever it was, when the changes were made, the difference is this time, the defense had confidence that it would fix it. That they had confidence, okay, if I do what he's saying, if we do this, we can actually get back at this, guys. We can actually stop this offense. This won't happen again. And they came out, and all of a sudden, our defense was better. I think that's another reason why we've given up so many leads is because it's not like he was dumb, like he had no idea, like, it works in some places because, he knows how to scheme. He's worked with, a Super Bowl team, like he knows that side of things. The biggest issue was you can't game plan confidence. You can't game plan belief. You have to instill that into your players. And that was probably the difference is that they believed. Okay, yeah, our game plan was a little iffy first half maybe, but hey, I believe you can fix it. I believe you know what we're talking about. Let's go do it. Everybody, let's go buy in. Let's go make it happen. And man, you can see it all across the board. The first time we played the Bears, we dropped that pass. I have a gut feeling that, hey, we dropped that pass against the Bears in the end zone. Swift does. I have a gut feeling if we're in the exact same situation and maybe Bevel's a coach, maybe Swift catches that pass. Because he's not focused on what could go wrong. It's, hey, wait, I can go win the game here. Give me the ball. I want the ball. I want the ball in my hands. That's why Stafford has been so clutch. He wants the ball in his hands. Swift been like, I want it in my hands. Not necessarily, oh no, what if I drop the pass? You drop the pass. There's a lot of work to do. Tons of work to do. The defense, they got work to do. They got to find a way to either stop the run or stop the pass, but I think it starts with stopping the run. Find a way to stop the run first to help out that pass D. You can't have those key turnovers. Between good teams and bad teams is that those key plays, can you bounce back? That was what we said all year, is that Matthew Stafford can't make those mistakes because we lose when he makes those mistakes because we can't bounce back from them. The difference in this game was that he made the mistake and down 10, they have the ball, fourth quarter, you're thinking game over. The defense stood up. The most unlikely hero because they were terrible in the first half, they stood up and said, you know what? We're going to have your back. It's all about having each other's back. That's what it's about. And I think the most fun thing was that it wasn't that the Lions held on, they survived. It was that they came roaring back. This was vintage Lions. This was vintage Matthew Stafford. We learned a lot about this game. We learned that whatever Darrell Bevel said, they bought into it. And coming off a win now, we need to see it again against the Green Bay Packers. We need to see this team buy in again against Green Bay. And say, you know what? Forget the chance of making mistakes. Forget that that's even a possibility. Just go out there and play. Go out there and have fun. You are all paid. You are all great players. You're great athletes. You all have potential. We know how many great players we have on this team. That's why there were such high expectations coming into this year. We have the guys. Just go make it happen. Just go play. If you make a mistake, who cares? It's going to happen. Everybody does. The question is, can you bounce back? Can you respond to that adversity? And this was one of the first times this year the Lions found a way to bounce back from adversity. It was one of Stafford's best games. It was one of the most fun games to watch. And it took me back. It just took me back. And I loved it. And I'm glad Lions were able to get the win. Those are my takeaways. Those are the main things that I learned from this game. All the hype about how loose are they going to play, how many shots are they going to take. Will this team buy in? Will they listen to him? It all came together. And it wasn't pretty. There's a lot to work on. They shouldn't have given up 23 points in the first half. But the difference is they found a way to fix it. They got back into the game. They put pressure on Trubisky. They didn't just sit there and say, well, that's going to happen the second half too. They flipped it around. They flipped the script, and they never gave up. That was the biggest thing, is that every guy believed in one another. They wanted each other to be successful. This is the most excited I saw this team all year. And whether that's because they just want to change the locker room, whatever it was, I don't honestly care. The fact is, you won the game. Bring this into next week. You're alive. You are technically a game out of a playoff spot. You're alive. We just did the playoff scenario videos. This team's not going anywhere. You're not done. You're not done until that final game is up with. And after what I saw from this offense, you can compete with anybody. The question is, can that defense give me the same second half performance to a closer level than what you gave me in the first half? Because if you can, there's no reason you can't go beat any team. We even saw with Patricia, you can compete with teams. You can compete. If it wasn't for key mistakes and not bouncing back, we compete. With injuries, depleted, it made it happen. Now we're on to Green Bay, and I'm excited to see what this team's going to do. Just play it. Go have fun, man. Just play loose. Play like this again. Don't worry about mistakes. The win will take care of itself. Let me know your thoughts, comments below. Thank you back for watching, and I'm out. Are you kidding me right now? I had to put my helmet on for this one. Are you kidding? Look at this. Look at all these members. What? Yo, hey, shout out to all the members, man. Look how many All-Pro members there are. Like, literally, it's the whole screen, dog. This is crazy. The patrons, of course, the Hall of Fame members, man. Y'all got the gold color. It's kind of yellow, but it's supposed to be gold. Shout out to all the members, man. If you want to be a part of this, all you got to do is join the channel. But there are perks that come with it. Stay locked in the community tab if you are a member, because that's where a lot of information comes out. I appreciate all of you. What?